Okay, now I am, sorry. If you take your seats, we're about to start the council forum. And I'm here to welcome you. I'm Sharon Breen. I do remember my name, President of the League of Women Voters, Minnetonka, Eden Prairie, and Hopkins. I'd like to welcome our candidates and our audience, and also our viewers on behalf of the League of Women Voters. We are a 104-year-old volunteer, nonpartisan organization which encourages the informed and active participation of citizens in government, works to increase the understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. The League does not support or oppose any political party or candidate. The views expressed in this forum are those of the candidates and not of the League of Women Voters. It is our purpose in sponsoring forums like this one to provide you with an opportunity to hear candidates discuss face-to-face the issues that are important to you. The questions in this forum came from voter citizens. This is also a nonpartisan forum, and we ask that campaign buttons or campaign t-shirts not be worn in here, nor signs or literature be distributed during the forum. Please silence your electronic devices. And now I'd like to introduce your moderator for this evening's forum, Deb Brinkman of St. Louis Park, League of Women Voters.
Hello, thank you everyone. Tonight's forum is provided to give you the opportunity to learn about the candidates running for Eden Prairie City Council, their background, motivations, and goals in relationship to the seat that they seek. Candidates will be answering questions submitted in advance of or questions that were submitted during the forum. To the extent possible, these questions have been reviewed by an impartial committee familiar with the issues. It's our intention in good faith to select questions that represent interests expressed by the voters, that are focused on the future and not based on hindsight, that are relevant to the office being sought, that are not personal in nature, hostile, embarrassing, or unclear. Questions will be addressed to all candidates and may be consolidated or edited. There's never enough time to cover all of the issues in a setting such as this. If your questions were not addressed, please feel free to contact the candidate directly. The rules for this evening's forum are as follows. Candidates will be allowed an opening statement with a maximum of 2 minutes. During the question and answer period, answers will be limited to 1 minute unless designated by the moderator. Opening statements will be given in alphabetical order, and questions will be answered in a rotating order. A 15-second warning will be given to the candidates. The candidates will also be given the opportunity for a 1-minute closing statement. Candidates, please finish your sentence quickly when you see the stop sign or you'll be interrupted. We ask that there be no demonstrations in support of or opposition to the candidates or their positions, and that the candidates be allowed the full time to get their points across. Recordings of this event, whether in person or by computer, may not be used without the express written approval of the League. The League will only allow audio-video of this event to be broadcast its entirety, except by the media reporting on this event. If you have a question, please write it on a 3x5 card that's available from our volunteers and raise your hand to have it picked up. The candidates running for Eden Prairie City Council are Mihailo Babovich, P.G. Narayanam, Lisa Toomey, Andrew Toperzer. These seats are all at large. You'll be selecting 2 candidates when you vote in November. The City Council of Eden Prairie consists of 4 City Council members and the mayor. We'll begin with the Eden Prairie City Council candidates to give 2-minute introductory remarks. Mihailo, we'll start with you.
Thank you so much. Good evening. I'd like to start off by thanking the League of Women Voters for organizing this forum here tonight. Of course, all of you for taking time out of your busy days, whether you're in person or online, to let us all speak to you, to let us introduce ourselves. It's truly an honor, so thank you so much for being here. My name's Mihailo Babovich. I'm a 34-year-old attorney, and as you know, I'm running for Eden Prairie City Council. The reason that I'm here, my drive to run for office, is really one that is to invest myself into the community that I know I'm going to be a part of for a very long time. Eden Prairie is a wonderful city. It has an immense amount of green space, biodiversity. It's a city leader in clean energy. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's safe. It's the reason my wife and I moved here at all. And I want to be a part of that. I want to help create and foster that community. The Eden Prairie I know is diverse. There's so many voices to be heard. And I view the job as a city council member as one of public service, right? It doesn't really matter what I want or what I like or what I don't like. It's about listening. It's about understanding, and that's what I want to do. So I'm here today to help you, see that about me, that I'm here to listen, I'm here to understand, and I hope so much that you'll give me the opportunity to be your voice and to help represent you and, build a prosperous Eden Prairie for many years to come. So thanks again. I very much look forward to it.
Thank you. PG?
Thank you to the League of Women Voters for inviting me to this event. I'm so honored to be here. My name is PG Narayan. I have been living in Eden Prairie last 25 years. We have raised our 2 boys here. Now we are raising our grandchildren. I have been serving on the city council last 6 years. I'm a businessman and entrepreneur. I have experience of handling $50+ million in city budget and more. And currently, I am the founder and CEO of SMI Force Inc., a Eden Prairie-based AI company. I love Eden Prairie. I have been a volunteer public servant for the last 20 years. I served the Human Rights and Diversity Commission for 6 years. I served 6 years of Eden Prairie Community Foundation. I served 6 years on Southwest Transit Board. I served on AM Rotary as a member. I'm a member of Eden Prairie Lions Club. I am one of the founding members of Eden Prairie Local News. In my last 20 years, I interacted and helped with many nonprofits serving Eden Prairie. As you can see, I'm truly an Eden Prairie volunteer and a servant. Why I'm running the 3rd time? I want to make sure Eden Prairie's park, pristine lakes, extensive bike path, abandoned trees, clean water, roads are maintained well. And I want to keep our top-notch police and fire department. I will collaborate closely with the city staff, city manager to ensure EP's key attribute to preserve and enhance. Thank you for voting for me in November 5th.
Thank you, PG. And Lisa?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting us tonight, and thank you to my fellow candidates for your willingness to run for City Council. My name is Lisa Toomey, and I'm running for re-election. In 2020, I was fortunate enough to win a seat on the council. Over the past almost 4 years, I've learned so much and feel that I've made a positive impact on our city. Eden Prairie is doing extremely well with strong business and resident support. We have an award-winning city manager and fantastic employees. The city is consistently ranked in the top 100 workplaces in the state. I really enjoy working with my fellow council members and the mayor. I'm proud of all that we have accomplished, including passing an inclusionary housing ordinance, adopting sustainable building standards, passing the Race Equity Initiative, establishing an affordable housing trust, maintaining low taxes and sensible budgets, enhancing our city parks and trails, continuing to plan for light rail, and of course, continuing to support police and fire. Another highlight of the last few years has been the town hall meetings that we have held with different groups within the city. It gives us an opportunity to connect with the residents and listen. That is what we're here for. I have a proven track record of deep involvement in community, philanthropic, and safety efforts. I still serve on the board of directors as the treasurer of the Prop Shop. I am the president of the Eden Prairie Crime Prevention and Criminal Apprehension Fund. I represent the city on the 494 Corridor Commission, the Municipal Legislative Commission, and the Southwest Corridor Management Committee. I have been a member of the Eden Prairie Lioness Lions for the past 22 years and am a member of the Eden Prairie Optimist Club. In the latest city survey, we have excellent rankings in many areas, including safety, economic health, city services, and overall quality of life. This is only accomplished through the hard work of city staff and the council. I love living in Eden Prairie and hope to continue my service working hard for the residents of this great community. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And Andrew.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Chaperzer. I'd like to thank League of Women's Voters for inviting everyone here today and everyone coming. Seems like a good turnout. I am a 35-year-old father of 4, and I live in this community, and my children are here. And when I first adopted my children, I saw that I wanted to move here, and I've been living here since December of 2017, so it'll be 7 years this year. And the last couple of years, I've been looking and trying to find out more about my community. So I wanted to participate in local politics if I can, try something out. And I think I can do, I don't know. But, I want to improve my community for my children that live in this community. And I'm a receptive person and like to see where it goes from there.
Thank you, Andrew. Now we will start with our question and responses. Again, we'll have 1-minute responses to each of the questions. Andrew, we'll start with you. What is your background and experience that qualifies you to represent citizens of Eden Prairie on the City Council? Please state how long you've lived in Eden Prairie.
So I lived in Eden Prairie for 7 years, as of December, as I was saying. I am a resident of Eden Prairie, and I don't have a lot of, I'll be honest, I studied political science in college, and I have lived in this community and seen all the great things that are in there. But I think just as someone that is there, coming from the community and seeing what I could do best. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. And Lisa.
Sorry. I think what qualifies me is I'm running for re-election, so I already have experience as a council member. But also I've been very, very involved in the community for the past 23 years. My husband and I have lived here. And I was the past executive director for Meals on Wheels. I've served on the Planning Commission. I volunteered for a ton of organizations, from Let's Go Fishing to the foundation. I've sat on the board for the Eden Prairie Lions Foundation. And my background is finance and marketing. So before I got into the nonprofit sector 25 years ago, that's what I did. So that's it. Yeah, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And Mihailo.
Thank you. Well, this is my big knock. I've been a resident of Eden Prairie for about 9 months. So I'm a long transplant. I was born in ex-Yugoslavia. Grew up on the East Coast, kind of became an adult in southern Minnesota, and spent some time living in the Minneapolis metro. So I'm very excited to be able to set my roots down here, which is honestly why I'm here. I shoot for the moon. Now, I'm an attorney. I spend my entire day reading statutes, trying to understand what legislatures are doing and why, and honestly thinking about better ways to do it and how to impact it. I'm on the ground seeing how these things are done. I spend my day trying to learn new things, and I think I'm quite good at it. So I think I'd be pretty qualified to help understand and help kind of usher in ordinances and regulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mihailo. Right, our next question, we'll talk about
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
You missed
Oh,
me.
thank you, PGs, thank
So
you.
do I get 2 minutes now?
Sorry about that. Thank you, PG.
Thank you. I've been here 25 years. Out of 25 years, 20 years I served this city. I met thousands of people. Every event, I meet people. I was there shaking hand and learning what the city wants. And I think I have a very good understanding what the city is. And also, last 6 years, I've been in city council, worked very closely with the staff, the police chief, the fire chief, all of that, and give me the insight as well. And the nonprofit, my education wise, I have a master's in electrical engineer. I'm a businessman and entrepreneur, so I can look at a problem in multiple facets and able to solve. And for me, I always say 1 + 1 = 2, never 3 or 1.5, because that engineering mind helps me to analyze the problem, work with the people, and solve and make Eden Prairie a better place to live. Thank you. Give me opportunity to speak.
Thank you, PG. And PG, we'll start with you with this next question. We'll talk about multimodal transportation. What is your vision for walking, cycling, and public transportation for our city? And what is your plan to realize that vision? And we'll begin with you, PG.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. Thank you. First, I've been serving in Southwest Transit Board last 6 years. And that's one of the premier public transportation organization. We transport around 500,000 people in this area, three cities. For example, in the Chester State Fair, we transport almost 100,000 people. So I'm a big fan of public transportation. And as Eden Prairie, as a city council, Ms. Lisa Toomey said, and others, we all really care about the walking path, the bike path, the ability to people to move around in Eden Prairie. And we work very hard. Any kind of development come up, make sure there is enough access in terms of bike paths and so on. And that's my answer.
Thank you, PG. We'll go to Mahilo.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I'm pro biking, I'm pro walking. It's the crazy thing about moving to the suburbs is that everything's pretty spread out, right? Eden Prairie's a massive landmass, and it's super difficult to connect that by bike trails or walking paths. But I think that there's probably more that can be done, whether it means, slowly diverting funds to build new paths, incorporating bike lanes into roads that are existing, trying to make it a more cyclist-friendly community. And of course, the same thing with public transportation. I think, as the world turns greener, we want to encourage people to not be driving themselves everywhere and trying to limit air pollution. So I think there's a lot of variable solutions. Of course, it costs tax dollars, so it's probably a slow implementation thing, but maybe you start with just encouraging residents to bike and making it easier for them to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mahilo. And we'll go to Andrew.
I see my kids hop on bikes, ride down the trails, walk to the park and everything else. And I think in the neighborhood communities, and if you're in your own little neighborhood, it's very easy to get around, walk where you need to go. Getting a little bit farther distances, like if my kids want to go to the mall, stuff like that, that's where it's a little bit, there's bike paths, but it's a little bit further. I think one thing is Eden Prairie doesn't have like a city bus like Bloomington does or like that, where it's not part of the metro. But I think what people kind of miss out, shout out, Southwest Transit is amazing. They have the Prime service, which picks people up, takes everything else. And all the good benefits I have that, I would continue doing that because it's pretty amazing. But yeah, I think we just continue how we're doing and improve.
Thank you, Andrew. And Lisa.
So multimodal transportation, we have to talk about light rail is coming to our city by 2027, hopefully. And Southwest Transit was testing autonomous, or they're going to be testing autonomous vehicles to get from the stations to, it's, what is it, short, like 1 or 2 miles out. And that'll be interesting. They're going to have drivers in the vehicles for the first 6 months, but then they will be autonomous. Also, I think Southwest service is really great, Southwest bus service, and Metro Mobility we have, and we also have an outstanding bike, we have outstanding bike trails, and, you know, there are some areas where bikes can be on the road. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to get around. It is also very spread out. So, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, we will switch topics and talk about decision-making next. Lisa, we'll start with you for this next question. Describe a recent city council decision you agree with and one with which you disagree with, if any, and speak and talk a little bit about why.
Wow. A recent city council. I haven't really disagreed with any of the decisions that we've made as a council. I've never voted against anything. We do look at things and perhaps don't approve some programs. Oh, I know. Here's one. Here's a project. There's a project off of Pioneer Trail and Valley Road where the road was supposed to be connected. There was a sign that it was going to be connected. It was there for 22 years. The sign was. However, you know, after talking to the neighbors and listening to them, at first, when I first saw the project, I thought, yes, that road should go through. But after listening to the neighbors and hearing their reasoning and talking to a bunch of people, you know what? It's good that that road's not going to go through. So we decided not to put that road through, but we still continued with the project of the townhomes that are on there. That's one instance I can think of.
Thank you, Lisa. And Andrew.
I think the city does a pretty good job at their decisions. But if there's something I would disagree with is that it seems like there was a apartment complex that was trying to be built over by Menards, and they got turned down. And I'm for moderately priced housing in Prairie. It's not just affordable priced housing or luxury housing. I would like moderately priced housing where just a normal middle-class family can go there, or even like a middle-class couple that's coming to start a family can live in an apartment for a while where they're building everything up. And I would like to see more of that in Eden Prairie. And I think that there's been a couple decisions that have not been in that line, so.
Thank you, Andrew. And PG.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yes. Describe a recent city council decision you agree with and one with which you disagree with, if any, and state why.
So I think it's important to highlight the process. Beginning of the year, that the staff and city council, we kind of lay out the strategy. Say what's important to us, all of us. Individually, then we consolidate that strategy, and that became the process in terms of taking the actions in every city council meeting. We have an awesome team. Team kind of work together as a line and respect each other. So a lot of times we don't have a lot of chaos in our city council meetings like other cities has. It works. We see each other. We don't agree all the time, but we rationalize it and we understand it. At the end of the day, we get unanimous vote. Like Lisa was saying earlier, that one road example, that when the residents came and we listened to their voice, we decided that it's not the right thing for the city, and we stopped.
Thank you, PG. Emma Hilo.
Thank you. You know, I'm pretty sure the 2025 budget was just approved with a increase in tax levies to cover for firefighter funding, extra firefighter bodies, I guess. There's a better way to say it, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Which I think I approve of that. Honestly, city services are essential to any city. Eden Prairie is doing a very good job of keeping its tax levies lower comparatively to similarly sized cities, similarly priced cities. And I think that's important. Keeping the quality of life is important. Now, of course, nobody likes a tax hike, so it's a carefully made decision, but I think it's more essential to make sure that the city's operating efficiently and that everyone's safe and comfortable here. Thanks.
Thank you, Mihilo. And Mihilo, we'll start with you for this next question, and it has to do with the budget. So a little bit more clarification. Do you support the Eden Prairie budget, and what might you want to change in the budget?
All right, I segued myself right in here. Yeah, I support it. Far be it for me to challenge the decision this council made. I mean, they're significantly more informed to all the decision-making steps. They have access to the various departments. So it's probably not very fair for me to take pot shots at them about something that I agree or disagree with. I understand that creating a city budget is an incredibly complicated decision-making process. There's a ton of departments that are vying for upgrades, more manpower, and the like. And from my review of the budget, I'm an attorney because I'm not good at math, so probably don't count that for much. But it seemed very, very well thought through. Obviously, it can be revisited at the end of the year, but it seems reasonable to me, so I support it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mihilo. And PG?
Yeah, absolutely, because we just, last council meeting, we just approved the budget. But I think it's important to understand the process again. We take from the strategy, we narrow down what's important, how do we fine tune that budget amount to different aspect. And then we have an awesome staff, the financial staff. They work very hard and experience, and they come up with the budget. When we finally see it, it's already went through multiple times. We see before the council that 2-3 times. So when we finally came last council meeting, I think, that we already seen multiple times. So the process is very good. Regard to my experience questioning the budget, I have dealt with the budget up to $300 million. Last one of the job I had in the state of Minnesota, I managed $120 million budget. So I do understand how to handle the budget, what to ask right questions, and I do agree adding the fire department headcount and the police account, which make it 5.8%. Thank you.
Thank you, PG. And Andrew?
I do like how the city manages its budget. I like that they use the municipal liquor store to offset the costs that would be paid by property taxes. And that's great that we are able to do that. I'd like to see similar programs kind of expanded on that type of thing. I like that we put money aside for capital expenditures years ahead of time, so we're not surprised by everything else. I think we do a very good job doing the budget. I like how we spend the money well and not on crazy things. I like that when we got our money for the opioid relief, that when I was reading about that, it seemed like we did proper things about adding social workers to the police force to deal with that instead of other cities doing crazy things with that money. And we're doing really great things with the city with our budget. And that's, yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. And Lisa?
Hi, okay, so we provide a lot of service for very little, not little money, but we do a really good job at taking the budget and providing really good service to the residents of Eden Prairie. Our tax levy is 5.8%. We had the second lowest tax increase of any city of our size within Hennepin County. And we also always have one of the lowest tax rates of any city of our size within the county. So our budgets are comparable. We spend most of our money, obviously, on public safety. And there's nothing I would change about the budget, I don't think. And whenever, and to the staff's benefit or complimenting the staff, if there's a grant to be had for something, they will look for it. And they will try and get other funding too. So they're always looking out to save money for the taxpayers.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, we will switch topics now. And Lisa, we'll start with you with this next question. How do you think the city should regulate the sale of cannabis?
So cannabis retailers, there's going to be 16 different types of licenses available from the state. and everything from a cultivator to a retailer to a wholesaler. We can have one retailer for every 12,500 residents in the city. So we can have five or six retailers. That means we have to accept their applications for a license. We could have as many as we want, but we have to accept 5 or 6, I think it's 5 licenses. I think that cannabis should be regulated like alcohol and tobacco. Obviously, you have to be 21 and to be able to purchase, and probably the same hours of operation as, say, a liquor store. And also, you obviously can't drive while impaired or do anything like that. And yeah, I think compliance checks like they do for alcohol and tobacco, the police department, and that's how I think cannabis should be regulated. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And Andrew?
I put cannabis in the same bucket as alcohol. I don't drink, I don't smoke, but I put it in the same bucket. So this is regulated the type of same way as that. And in that way, I really like how we do have a municipal liquor store. I think it's controversial to say. I would like to see a municipal dispensary where if we're going to have cannabis sold in Eden Prairie, the city might as well take some of that money and put it towards the city to lower the tax burden on its residents. I'm not saying that all of it be only municipal cannabis, because that'd be really hard to do, but I think it would be a missed opportunity if the city overlooked that opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you, Andrew. And Mihailo?
Thank you. I think I generally agree. If people want to use cannabis, power to them. It's getting legalized. I'm not really one to come in and add restrictions on the way that people want to live their lives. I think it's important probably to consider where individuals are using cannabis, whether that's in parks or around children. I think that's something that's worth looking into for regulation. We certainly don't want that to become an issue. But generally speaking, I think that it makes sense to allow as many businesses as will serve Eden Prairie. If there's a demand for it, then I don't see any reason to try to limit that demand or limit the supply that can serve that community. And I think it's just a matter of keeping things safe while we do that.
Thank you, Mihailo. And PG?
I think this is a really timely questions because we just reviewed this last month or so. There is, I think, allowed 5 different dispensary in Eden Prairie. And we're looking into, one other thing we do is, before we do any kind of ordinance, any kind of rules, we look at our neighboring cities, what's working, what's not working, what's we want to do. Some area you don't want to be number one up front and try out. Sometimes you want to stay back and see it and learn from others. And that's what another thing we're doing. And our staff is very good at doing. And I think there's some level of regulation needed, like my fellow people was saying, sitting here. But overall, I support having cannabis dispensary in Eden Prairie.
Thank you, PG. All right. Our next question, we'll switch topics and we'll talk about public safety. PG, we'll start with you for this question. What public safety challenges exist in Eden Prairie and how would you address them?
So there's a two aspect that we look at it. One side that we have the costs going up, but that's not related to major crime. There's something to do with the household. So we increase the social worker aspect in the police department. That's the right way rather than policemen adding to the budget. The other side, we looked at the firefighters. We just finished an analysis to say, what is the worst scenario from a fire station to the worst point in Eden Prairie? And the study shows sometimes 12 minutes to get there. And what everybody recommends is you need to be like 3 minutes to save somebody's life. So I'm a big fan of increasing the budget to add the firefighters and the police to support the, okay, that's it.
Thank you. Mihailo?
Thanks. I mean, since COVID, alcohol and addiction rates have been on the rise. I think that's definitely something that needs to be talked about and addressed. Frankly, I think so much of that could be solved by education. You know, there's so many preventative measures to address these types of things, and I think that you got to start with the community first, and you can do that from the inside out. And so, you know, that could start as easily as, you know, hosting workshops or informative sessions, or kind of allowing more neutral abstinence groups to come take place. I know the city's obviously getting more social workers involved, the law enforcement, which is an important step there too. And so I think we're trending in the right direction. You know, it's one of those things that there's always more you can do. But I think kind of outreach and accessibility are our primary factors to address those kinds of problems.
Thank you, Mihailo. And Lisa?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. What public safety challenges exist in Eden Prairie, and how would you address them?
Well, I think we have very well-trained police and fire departments. And I think that they do a good job of addressing any kind of issues that may come up, like PG brought up, hiring a social worker. We're going to get another one, actually. Those are paid for by the county. They're not paid for by the state or by the city. And that takes a lot of the work off of the officer's plate, so that the social worker can do follow-up calls and everything like that. As far as the fire department, looking at it, we may at one point have to build another fire department, but not for a long, long time. But I think that overall, we have fantastic fire and police departments, and we're extremely fortunate. They're very well trained, all of them.
Thank you, Lisa. And Andrew?
So I believe our police and fire departments do a really good job. I have a story. Last year, I was at a adoptive father's support group, and we were talking about problems with children with mental health, everything else. And the one thing that I brought up was how our police department, we have all our police, I believe all our police officers are EMT trained. So they come there, they're EMT trained. They do a lot of good things. They're good here for mental health, which can escalate and be a lot problem if police come for mental health and they're not trained. I believe our police department is really, really great. And it's a great example for the rest of the metro of how police department can be done correctly. And I want to continue on that.
Thank you, Andrew. All right, our next topic will be on gun control. And Andrew, we'll start with you. Do you believe City Council has a role to play in gun control?
I'm not sure how they would logistically do that. I can see on the state level, but I'm not sure how we can control guns in our own. When you say gun control, I mean, I understand like you'd have gun-free zones like the mall and that type of thing, but having any way on people stop buying from guns like that, I think that's kind of out of the city's control. I wish we could control it more, but I think it's out of their control.
Thank you, Andrew. And Lisa?
Well, there's something called the Second Amendment. So we're not really able to control any kind of anything when it comes to guns. I would hopefully maybe require retailers to have them tied down or put in a locking mechanism. I'm not sure if the city can actually do that, but if we can, I would love to explore that, because you always want to practice extreme safety around guns.
Thank you, Lisa. And PG?
In terms of city, only thing city can do is where the gun being sold. We have ordinance say it had to be so many feet away from the school, from nursery and so on, housing. So we have some ordinance there in terms of where to sell the gun, at which stores and how far away. But I think the other responsibility a city council has, even though there is no direct control, is influencing the state legislators and the federal level. We interact with, senator, house members, and so whatever the best for the Eden Prairie, we should be something out of our control. We should be working with our Senate and House members and federal level to fit best for the Eden Prairie.
Thank you. And Mihailo?
Yeah, largely agree. Gun control is a federal legislation issue. There's not a whole lot the city can do from an ordinance standpoint, right? From a purely, regulatory standpoint. I think a lot of the issues we've seen with gun violence lately nationally and locally probably does come down to either issues of safety or issues with mental health. And those are probably things that the city, to some extent, can try to offer some resources to help with. I mean, again, it's preventative things to some extent, right? I mean, you can try to get ahead of it or teach people signs to look out for. So certainly, it's I think worth exploring. Hey, kind of what's the disease that's causing this? Let's not treat the symptoms. Let's go beyond that and see what the city can do to offer residents, maybe some opportunities or resources to potentially avoid these issues down the line.
Thank you, Mihailo. And we'll start with you with this next question. It's on mental health resources, actually, so great lead in there. Would you advocate for access to more mental health services for Eden Prairie residents, staff, and/or first responders?
Yeah, I think so. There's definitely, budgeting concerns with this stuff. I mean, you can only offer so much to keep the budget reasonable without having to just tax the residents to pay for all of it. So I think there has to be a balance that's built into how you do these things. But, for sure, our first responders, they see a lot of things that most people don't see on a day-to-day basis. And I think there are lingering mental health concerns that they could use help with. I mean, these are the individuals who serve your community, and you don't want to let them, ruin their futures over it. So I do think that there is, to some extent, the city can kind of try to lead the charge here and offer resources and offer education. I think it's definitely something that's worth exploring for the benefit of all the residents.
Thank you, Mihailo. PG.
Yeah, I think mental health problem is a national problem. So I think we have to play our part. We work with the city, and Eden Prairie Community Foundation, work around 85 nonprofit organizations in serving Eden Prairie, and many of them are somehow related, or some of them are somehow related to mental health issues. And so this is a big issue. And also, this is the reason that we added a social worker to our police force. So we do see more calls coming in related to that can be solved with the social worker. The other part is that our police department take a lot of training in terms of, let's say you're stopping a car and that person may have some physical issues, and we are trained to handle that rather than arresting them and so on. So we do take care of it through police and the fire. Thank you.
Thank you, PG. And Andrew.
I believe a lot of crime comes from unhandled mental health. I would like to see how much $1 of mental health prevention, how much that goes with doing crime. I wonder if there's a statistic there. That'd be interesting to look to. But I think every dollar you spend on mental health reduces crime. And if we can help support our community members to have better mental health, we will have a better community. And I don't know how we do that, but I think that is worth figuring out a budget for.
Thank you, Andrew. And Lisa.
So could you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yes. Would you advocate for access to more mental health services for Eden Prairie residents, staff, and/or first responders?
Yes. Yes, I would advocate for that. You can't have too much mental health assistance. I know within the Eden Prairie Police Department, they have something called Checkup from the Neck Up, where officers can go and talk to somebody. Also, our chaplain program is unbelievable. They're very well trained, all the chaplains that help out the police department. They help not only victims, but they also help the police when they're going through something. The Eden Prairie Crime Prevention Fund sponsors something called the Recovery Assistance Program, where they will pay for someone's expenses that their insurance doesn't cover if they're seeking treatment for alcohol or drug addiction, and they have to meet with a police officer once a month to discuss goals. And they don't meet at the police department, obviously, but they'll meet with them off-site and talk about things. Also, we're hiring another social worker, so that's good. As far as staff goes, I think that, anybody can hopefully feel free to get help whenever they want to, and if they can't, reach out to somebody. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And PG, we will start with you with this next question. The topic is on partisanship. City council positions are nonpartisan and support all citizens. What does nonpartisan mean to you, and how will you serve in a nonpartisan fashion?
This is a great question. People ask me, especially this year when you're door knocking, you're meeting people in different July 4th event and so on, are you a Republican or a Democrat? And I usually say, I don't have the bandwidth or the knowledge really to articulate what all the thing, how to solve it, all the thing happening national level or state level. What I care about Eden Prairie, the reason I am, last 20 years I'm volunteering, is that I can do something about here. Being an engineer, I'm not one of those guys just talking. I want to take into action. So I listen to people. I ask people what's wrong with Eden Prairie. I don't talk about the national politics. That's a personal view. And my view is I'm here to listen to the people and see what I can do to make Eden Prairie a better place to live.
Thank you, PG. And we'll go to Andrew.
Being nonpartisan is not being conformed to any party platform or party ideal. So you're to your own ideals, your own thoughts, and what you see around your community and what you can do best to form your own opinions. And you're not, oh, I have to vote with the party for this or for that. And I don't agree with anyone 100%, and I'm fine with doing my own opinions based off of what I see with my community, and that has nothing to do with what party it would be.
Thank you, Andrew. And Lisa.
So I think it's important to keep in mind that when we make decisions or when we talk about things, when we talk to people, it's city above party. We do not even think about our political affiliations when we make decisions, because the way the city is run has nothing to do with whether we're Democrats or Republicans. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to run for city council, because we can help everybody. Our only concern are the residents of Eden Prairie.
Thank you, Lisa. And Mihailo.
I think it's difficult for people to, you vote a certain way because you think a certain way. And you can't really turn off, hey, this is the gut check opinion. But what you can do is understand each other, right? And so I think it's super important to make sure you understand where everyone's coming from, whether it be a fellow council member, whether it be a constituent, and try to work that in. But it's true, right? What you're working for is the best thing for the community as a whole, and that has nothing to do with party lines. And so that's very easy to set aside, and I think being nonpartisan means ignoring kind of what the end goal is outside of what's best for the city. Thanks.
Thank you, Mihailo. And PG.
I just answered
Oh,
that.
sorry about that.
I could go again.
No, that's okay. I got it here. Okay, our next question, we'll start with Mihailo. That's where I got goofed up. Here we go. The question is on challenges. If you were elected or reelected, what is your biggest concern that needs addressing and why? And how would you work to solve it?
I want to do my best to make sure that all the diverse cultures in Eden Prairie are well represented and have an ability to prosper. you know, it's crazy just how many different types of peoples and cultures you see driving and walking around outside of Eden Prairie, and I'd love to see more representation. Frankly, I think we could do more community events. We could encourage, you know, more multicultural get-togethers or empower people to kind of host their own thing, maybe with some city sponsorship or something like that. So I think it would be an excellent way to kind of blend in the unique culture that Eden Prairie already has, and help showcase that more, because that's really kind of what makes a city a beautiful place and a community you want to grow in.
Thank you, Mahalo. And PG?
The good news is we do an annual survey and we get 95 to 96% approval rating, what we are doing, how we're running Eden Prairie. But some of the new things concern is, I think Mahalo said, Eden Prairie became more diverse. I'm the only minority sitting here in the city council and right here that need more attention in terms of how that dynamic change in Eden Prairie, and it's not reflecting to some other cities. So that's the important thing. The other aspect is very important for a city council. Eden Prairie services are awesome, so we have to keep the tax low while the services are high. And the last one, I saw my 15-second. Last one is I do hear a lot of people concerned about LRT coming in here and adding crime, and we will be working closely with the police chiefs to make sure nothing bad happen here.
Thank you, PG. And Lisa?
I think the most pressing issue facing Eden Prairie right now is the lack of affordable housing. Unless you have a really good job, you're not going to be able to afford a house for a long time. It's affecting many generations. Young kids are still living with their parents, or they can't even move back to Eden Prairie after they've graduated from college unless they want to live with their parents. Also, older people, like the developers are putting in these homes that are meant for retirees, but they're $700,000 or $800,000, and people can't sell their home. They can't afford to move into that home, so they stay put. So, and it's not unique to Eden Prairie. It's all over the United States. So Eden Prairie, what we've been doing is we've passed an inclusionary housing ordinance, established an affordable housing trust, which utilizes both funding from both state and federal sources to help realize more affordable housing. Of all the projects that have gone in, 20 to 25% have been affordable. So that's 600 units within the last few years. And I've been told to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And Andrew?
I agree with Lisa. I believe that there is a lack of moderate price housing for young professionals, young people in this city, and I think it would be nice to be able to have a city where people could come in when they're younger and not come and, oh, I saved up money living somewhere else. They come here in the 30s to buy a house, but buy a house or start living here earlier in their careers because they have moderately priced housing available to them in the city. I would love to see more moderately priced housing because that allows more people that grew up in Eden Prairie to stay in Eden Prairie. It allows more people to come in and get, we don't have a brain drain of, we have all these educated people, but they go somewhere else for the first couple of years because they can't afford to live in Eden Prairie when they're starting off. It'd be nice to have places for people starting off to live.
Thank you, Andrew. All right. Andrew, we'll start with you with this next question. So the topic is just on advocacy. Should the City Council consider and debate foreign policy issues or events which are outside of their jurisdiction in efforts to pass symbolic resolutions? Why or why not?
If they don't have any control over it, I understand having a personal opinion about it or having some sort of support, but just having just being, it's a symbolic measure and stuff like that, it doesn't make sense to kind of waste our time to do that because there's not really anything in control over it. I can understand saying, hey, we want to raise money for Ukraine refugees or whatever it might be. That's one thing, but if it's just symbolic, it doesn't make sense to kind of spend time on doing that.
Thank you, Andrew. And Lisa?
I agree with Andrew. If it's symbolic and if nothing's really going to be accomplished by us supporting it, then I think it might just be a waste of time.
Thank you, Lisa. Mihailo.
I feel like allowing arguments like this to take place is somewhat partisan, and people have opinions, and they, you know, voting one way or the other really puts you in a tough spot there. I'm certainly happy to allow people a forum to discuss, civilly and try to understand one another. I don't know that the city has to get involved or take a position. I don't know that I think that's appropriate or really effective.
Thank you, Mihailo. And PG.
Yeah, I think I agree with all of everybody here. It's foreign policy is something that we don't have no control, and I think Lisa was saying it's I agree with that. Is that we wasting council time? We are elected to run the city, not the world. And so our concern should be the police, our concern should be the fire, our concern should be the trails and bike path and affordable housing, and that's our focus. And we really should not be spending any time beyond that. And if you have, that's my view on that.
Thank you, PG. All right, this is the last question that I have for this evening. And we will start with Lisa on this question. What type of civic or nonprofit groups have you been involved with?
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. I was the executive director for Meals on Wheels for many years. I served on the Community Education Advisory Council, the Eden Prairie Lions Foundation. I've been an officer in the Eden Prairie Lions Club. Let's Go Fishing. I've been involved with the Eden Prairie Crime Prevention and Criminal Apprehension Fund for 16 years. I've been president for the last 8 years. I am currently the treasurer of the Prop Shop. I have done volunteer work with many organizations. I volunteered with Prop, Onward Eden Prairie, the Eden Prairie Foundation. I chaired a gala. And outside of Eden Prairie, I volunteered for Virginia Piper Breast Center for 5 years. So I've basically been volunteering since my husband and I moved here from Australia in 2001. So I've been volunteering since we landed. And it's a great way to meet people in the community. And usually people that volunteer are pretty nice.
Thank you, Lisa. Mihailo?
I don't know if this counts, but since I moved here, I've donated so much money to Home Depot. No, I can't compete with Lisa's illustrious record. I've spent some time, working with high school students and coaching them in moot court and trying to kind of educate them about the law and what it's like to be a real grown-up attorney. But I'd love to get more involved. I do plan on doing so once I, finish all the home renovations or get closer to being done.
Thank you, Mihailo. PG?
I've been here 25 years. Out of that 25 years, I think I volunteered 20 years of that. And that started with 6 years in Human Rights and Diversity Commission. I was the vice chair. I was Edinburgh Community Foundation, 6 years again, vice chair, and 2 years in a row I was chair. I was in AM Rotary a couple of years. Currently, I'm the Eden Prairie Lions. 2 years in public television, TPT, Public Television Board. I was 10 years in Minnesota, in the Association of Minnesota, and I've been 6 years in Southwest Transit Commission. Currently, I'm the vice chair. And on top of it, I worked with many nonprofit organizations like Prop Shop, and many other ones that I am very closely tied to. And I think it's every person in Eden Prairie should volunteer one of the organizations and help, because city cannot do everything by increasing tax, but the nonprofit does a tremendous work in Eden Prairie, and I hope everybody pitch in.
Thank you, PG. And Andrew?
I love the nonprofits that are in Eden Prairie. I love going to the Prop Shop, finding things there, supporting that. When my son needed to do volunteering and stuff like that, to try to build up his resume before college. He'd volunteer at the prop shop because I wanted him to do something in the community there. I wish I had the time to be able to do all the community service you guys have, and hopefully I could find some time in my thing. I don't have as illustrious list as Lisa and PG here.
Thank you, Andrew. Now we will proceed to our closing statement. Again, you'll each get 1 minute to do your closing statement, and we're going to reverse the order of which we did our opening statements. So, Andrew, we will start with you.
Okay, so I am running for city council a little bit differently. I am not spending any money because I don't believe that money should be a big deal in local politics. So you will not see a yard sign for me. You will not see a flyer for me. You will not see any of that. Everything I'm doing just to see what I can do there, is a no money campaign. And I believe there should be money in politics. And I believe that I'm someone that's a community member of Eden Prairie and want to contribute to it and see what I can do for my great city.
Thank you, Andrew. And Lisa.
Thank you to the League of Women Voters again for giving us all the opportunity to participate this evening. Over the past few years, I've had the privilege of serving our community, and it's been an honor. I hope to continue working on your behalf. One thing that I am proud of is that I've been able to help the residents of Eden Prairie. I have received numerous calls from people with simple questions or comments about road safety or development projects, or to even asking for help with more serious issues. Each time I was able to help them or steer them in the right direction. Your council members are here to serve you. And if reelected, I will continue to bring my dedication and forward thinking to the council. I believe this is a great city, but we need to work to keep it that way. I hope to have your vote on November 5th. For more information, you can visit my website, lisatoomey4ep.com, or on Facebook or Instagram, but I'm not that great at social media. But all my contact information is on my website. Please contact me with any questions or comments anytime that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And PG.
My name is PG Narayan. You have seen yard signs say PG for EP, and if you're confused, that's me. This is my third time I'm running for city council. I have already served around 6 years as the city council. Ladies and gentlemen, I am passionate about our city. I have lived in EP last 25 years. I love my city. We raised our 2 kids. Now we are raising our grandchildren here. I served as a volunteer for more than 20 years in various nonprofit and city organizations. I held leadership role in many nonprofit organizations and businesses. My goal is simple: make every resident's life better. Just make EP number 1 again, with the great city services and lower taxes. At the end of the day, I'm trying to give back to this country and serve our city. Please vote for me, PG Narayan, for City Council on November 5th. Please visit my website, www.pg4ep.com. And thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you, PG. And Mahilo.
Thank you. As I started off with, Eden Prairie is a wonderful and beautiful city. Quite frankly, I think the current city council and all the previous ones have done a great job. That's why it's so high up on the coveted list of the greatest cities in Minnesota. But I want to help. I want to be there. I want to help Eden Prairie take the next step. And so I'll leave you with my marriage proposal to the city of Eden Prairie. I promise to learn. I promise to understand to the best of my ability. I promise to give all my time and all my energy to make this city as good as it can be. I promise to be available. I promise to be thoughtful. And most of all, I promise to do everything in the best interest of this city. So I'd love for you to make me the happiest candidate sitting up here and elect me. So thank you so much for coming out tonight. I hope you all have a great evening.
Thank you, Mahilo. This concludes the Eden Prairie City Council Candidate Forum. On behalf of the League of Women Voters, I thank the candidates for being part of the democratic process by running for office and for being willing to serve our community. Thank you also to the League of Women Voters volunteers, our audience here tonight, and those viewing this event virtually for your participation in this candidate forum. Thank you to the Eden Prairie City staff for supporting this event. Thank you to the city's internet provider for broadcasting live streaming, and recording tonight's forum. On-demand viewing can be accessed at lwvmeph.org. For additional election information, we encourage you to visit vote411.org, the League of Women Voters award-winning one-stop shop where voters can register to vote, find their polling place, and learn how candidates stand on issues. Just a quick public service note is that the information will be refreshed on September 17, so double check that website after September 17, National Voter Registration Day. Please remember to vote in the November 5th election by absentee ballot or in person. You'll be selecting 2 candidates when you vote. Both seats are at large. Early voting begins September 20th. Your vote is your voice. The LWV welcomes new members, both men and women, at lwvmeph.org. This ends tonight's candidate forum. Thank you and good night. Audience, please join me in thanking the candidates with a round of applause.